Yeah.
Hello, got cut off again.
Yeah, whenever I'm at one part of my house, I have 3 bars, but if I go to the other part of my house, then it totally drops. So I'm going to sit differently, and hopefully that works.
Okay.
So just Matt Bevin, it really is against abortion. He passed the heartbeat bill, which is pretty controversial. It's going to run up against Roe v. Wade. Seems like it's a de facto ban on abortion, and it seems like they're trying to overturn Roe v. Wade. So.
Yeah, they sure are, and the so-called right-to-life movement has been trying to do that since 1973 when Roe v. Wade was decided. So yeah, they claim to be anti-abortion, and what their goal has always been is to make all abortions after conception totally illegal and equivalent to murder. That's their goal, and Matt Bevin fits right in with that.
And your argument is essentially when you have liberal laws such as, free and easy access to abortion and contraception. So when you have liberal laws, there's actually less abortions that happen than when you have...
Yes. I've been saying that since 2012, and it was based on a study that was backed up by other studies showing that in different regions of the world, the regions where abortion laws are most liberal, such as Western Europe and North America, the abortion rates are actually lower than countries that have very strict and punitive abortion laws, such as Latin America and other Catholic countries. Ireland recently changed, became more liberal on that. But there are slightly more abortions, but they're all illegal, and so more women die in unsafe procedures. So I've been calling the Right to Life movement hypocrites, because the one solution they keep proposing, make all abortions illegal, would actually raise the abortion rate, and from their point of view, make the crisis worse and increase what they call the murder rate.
Yeah, right. So it sounds a little ironic because you're sitting there saying that if abortions are legal and there's a contraception, I guess those would be the 2 liberal laws that I can think of, but there's actually...
Well, everything that Planned Parenthood does.
Okay. So you're 100% pro-Planned Parenthood.
There, you got it.
The conversation, I guess, I don't know if I was just indoctrinated, but the partial birth abortions, when folks wait till they're about 9 months pregnant, almost ready to give birth. I've seen images of them where they just pull out the fetus, which looks like a whole baby, but they keep it in a couple inches and then suck out their brains.
Okay.
Well, I guess
isn't that done only for medical emergencies? I mean, that's not an elective abortion right there. I can't imagine that any doctor or clinic in the entire world would do that for purely reasons of choice.
Yeah. Well, I guess
I don't. They make up all kinds of gruesome scenarios and imply that those are going on all the time. But the Right to Life movement has been lying for 46 years. Why should they stop now?
Well, I guess what I was getting to is that the heartbeat bill is once you detect a heartbeat, which could be 6 weeks to 12 weeks, and then Roe v. Wade is the 3rd trimester, so after 6 months to 7 months. So there's a line of demarcation. So it seems like if you wait to the very last second, that's getting real close to, that's a baby, right? So where would you say the line is between...
my understanding of Roe versus Wade is that all abortions during the 1st trimester are legal everywhere in the United States.
The language...
It can be for any reason or no reason, or they're simply legal.
Right.
And then during the second trimester, the rights of the fetus gradually increase, and states may regulate abortion during the second trimester, but they must base their regulations on focusing on the health of the woman.
Right.
And then the third trimester, states can become even more stringent.
Right. So the language, tell me if I'm wrong on this, but the language of Roe v. Wade says that life begins when the baby is viable outside the mother's body.
I don't think they said life begins, but they said that viability is an important consideration.
When do you think life begins? Do you agree with the Roe v. Wade?
Oh, about 4 billion years ago. So all this talk about life beginning at conception is just scientifically ridiculous.
Well, I mean, technically, fertilization is. I mean, technically, that's when it begins, right?
No, a sperm and an ovum are both living cells.
Oh, okay.
But life has begun long before that.
Right, that's a good point. So life has been, the whole time we're, I guess, mature and we're, have ovum or sperm.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fascinating that all the issues that you ran on are the exact opposite with Matt Bevin. He made Kentucky into a right-to-work state.
Yes.
How?
I call it right to bust unions state.
Can you?
I'm totally opposed, and so is my running mate, Josh French. We believe in strengthening and defending unions, and Matt Bevin and his entire party and the ruling class in this country want to destroy unions. That would make it a much worse society.
Tell me if I'm right about right to work. So right to work means you can go into a place that's already been unionized, but you don't have to join the union. Is that close?
Exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me because unions are, 9% nationally, so there's not really much unions left to speak of, and when they talk about them, they act like it's this big monopoly, this monolith, and it's crushing everybody and, everything.
Yeah, they want to bring that 9% unionization rate to zero. That's been their goal forever.
And the unions have brought so many things. They brought health care. They brought the weekend. They brought the 8-hour work day. They brought...
and they're fantastically beneficial for any society, unless they're, state unions or something, or shams or something. But if they're democratic unions where the members make the decisions,
right.
They have all kinds of beneficial effects.
So, small d Democrat.
Small d Democrat.
When I think about, how, Donald Trump has Make America Great Again, when I think about, the greatness of Kentucky, I watched Harlan County, USA, the Barbara Koppel documentary, and the solidarity that people build when they're, all standing for a common purpose. There was just so much warmth and love in their conversations, and they were fighting the good fight, and it brought tears to my eyes because I was like, I've never. When did this happen? When was this part? When was this going on?
Right. It's a tremendous history we have, and I agree that it's inspiring. The overall vision, the biggest view of our platform is that I support a cooperative commonwealth, as opposed to what we have going on now, which is a class war. We've got class warfare being waged by the 1%, the billionaires, the oligarchs, whatever you want to call them, against everybody else. Cooperative commonwealth, unions would be stronger. There would be more worker co-ops. and there would be less. The entire tax system would be reformed so that the poor are not paying higher percentage of their income in taxes than a millionaire.
What do you think about the Employee Free Choice Act?
Great. I think the Democratic Party should push for it, and if they don't, there should be some other party that comes along and replaces them.
I felt like it was a tremendous opportunity for unions. Obama was promised that he was going to pass it. My understanding, he said, I believe he said he did, but it never came to pass, so it just kind of died nationally.
Right. I think Obama he emphasized it, put it lower on his list of priorities. He got all tied up in health insurance issue. And
right.
He just kind of, I think he left the Employee Free Choice Act to wither.
What I really liked about it was it made every industry, I guess, I don't know if it had a certain number, but essentially every industry had the right to vote for a union. When I've had a lot of crappy jobs, I've worked at Burger King and just a whole bunch of crappy jobs, and it would be awesome, because I think that if you just ask the employees, do you want to unionize, when it just you leave it up to just their own, I guess, volition to study it, to understand it, and then to be able to organize it themselves. I guess it's, or maybe the public education says, I'm not for sure what it is, but it seems like there's not that much of a pull to say, come on guys, let's get unionized, and if you do say it, then it's like you're a troublemaker. But if they had...
And they find some way to fire you.
Right, and there's intimidation too, so just the vote.
Yeah, it's a tremendous tool, and it doesn't all have to be done in one day. There can be an organizing campaign in a given workplace where people sign up over a period of months, and when they reach the right threshold, then they actually have a vote.
Right. What I was saying is just by providing the vote, at least, you can see where they stand, but I feel like they would be more, they would be in favor of doing something like that, especially if they know it's legal and it's okay.
Yeah, I think workers would quickly see the benefits of it, and employers will fight it tooth and nail.
Okay. So the economy of Kentucky, there's a ton of poverty. I think it's 17%. It's one of the poorest states in the union. Matt Bevin, I guess I want to just point out Matt Bevin's economic platform. He chased two major corporations. He tried to get a battery plant in Pikeville and an aluminum plant in Greenup County, and they both fell through. I heard there was something about $30 million that he got from I don't know what that's Ike Lawrence. He said that he had $30 million to do this, so he's just wasting money to go after these international fishing expeditions, and they're not working. So he wants to bring in like Toyotas and all these great corporations, but so far his efforts have been failing. He brags about having.
I think it's a bad strategy. I think most new jobs.
Yeah.
Most increases in employment are created in the small and medium-sized business sectors. And when states compete to see how much essentially bribe money they can come up with to attract the few huge corporations that are looking for location, there's a race to the bottom. And states try to put together the most attractive deal and end up losing tax revenue for years to come. So I think the strategy ought to be not to go chasing after the next Toyota, but to improve the business climate in the whole Commonwealth, and that takes a number of different measures to accomplish. And go with small and medium business, and not try to go fishing. Yeah, as you put it.
When I think about $30 million, if you were to give an entrepreneur $50,000, that should be able to start up a lot of small businesses. You'd be helping out 600 I think it's 50,000 into 30 million. I think I just did it in my head, but you should be able to help out 600, Kentuckians. So instead of trying to find these corporations to save everybody, instead you would actually be developing Kentucky for Kentucky.
Right. That's a good point.
Thank you.
I agree.
There's some more economic news. He brags about this $18 billion in new investments, which, I think that's good, new investments, right, $18 billion. But he also brags about creating 50,000 new jobs. You've been in there for 3.5 years. There's, nearly 5 million Kentuckians. Everybody needs jobs, and you've only brought in 50,000? That seems like a very low number. And then usually, statistics, there's, 3 kinds of lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Yeah, there's also a category of BS.
Yeah.
So, as a trained economist, I have a bachelor's in economics from MIT and a master's in agricultural economics from UK. I treat all the statistics with skepticism. I don't know how many jobs at Bevan can legitimately claim credit for. I would suggest the number might be about 0.
What would you say about the economy? How has Matt Bevan ran Kentucky's economy?
Well, busting unions. I mean, he's intensified the class war, and he's made Kentucky a more polarized state. I don't think he's done anything good.
Nothing? You don't think he cleaned up the Capitol? They washed the outside of the Capitol building.
Right, so that employed a few people. That's true.
But you're right. I mean, he cut dental and vision coverage for 460,000 Kentuckians. Dentists.
That makes Kentucky much less attractive for employers. I mean, their workforce is going to be thicker.
Yeah.
Less capable. They're going to be more absenteeism. All of the damage that comes from having a sick workforce is going to spread throughout the whole Commonwealth. It's very short-sighted.
Yeah, I agree. Ike Lawrence, he actually points out a lot of the health issues. He was saying that Kentucky was in the top 10 for obesity and diabetes and cancer of all kinds, and his solution was just to cut out the high fructose corn syrup that the mothers are giving to the babies. But I felt like universal health care.
Is he going to pass a law?
I guess I have to, get.
I mean, that might help. I've never heard that idea before, but how's he going to do it?
Even if he did something and passed a law about it, I guess he's opposed to universal health care, so he wouldn't. It seems like he knows all the problems right in front of him, and just to say that, it seems pretty heartless. It seems pretty callous. It's like, I know that you're ill, I know that you're sick, and I know that you need help, but, sorry.
Well, this would be the Republican attitude across the board.
Yeah, and I think that might be a problem, too, because what about poverty, right? So it's like LBJ did something about poverty, so none of the Republicans want to even, but they're supposed to be Christians, so I thought Christians cared about the poor. So poverty. Would you...
Yeah, they don't really have an economic plan. What Republicans have is a plan to defeat the working class.
Yeah, the rhetoric...
Defeat the Democratic Party. That's their whole plan.
And the working class is what keeps this whole thing going.
Yes.
All right.
It's very divisive, and Bevan and I think Donald Trump are both typical Republicans in that respect. Nothing unusual about Trump.
Right. I once heard that Obama was who he wanted to be, but Trump is who we actually are. I don't know. Okay.
No, let's not go there.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't disagree with that idea. That seems pretty truthful.
Well, I guess the reason why I pointed out is just that they try to make Donald as like some sort of aberration, like he's totally divorced from. This has been the Republican policies for 3 decades. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So I got a list of here. I got off your website. You have an 11-point plan, right? You got 11 main planks to your platform.
Right.
Okay. So you see, we talked about unions building the middle class. You want to stop corruption. Anything specific?
Yeah, well, specifically, corruption at the top of the Kentucky Democratic Party.
Yeah.
They routinely rig their primaries.
Yeah.
In order to ensure that a progressive or radical like me can never possibly win an election. If you can't win the primary, you can't win the election. So Democrats all over the country, really, but what I'm experiencing firsthand is the Kentucky Democrat Party, the KDP. They will use a small bag of tricks to make sure that I never win a primary. It's been going on it went on in 2014 when I ran for the U.S. House, 2015 when I ran for governor, 2016 I'm not sure, 2018 last year when I ran for the U.S. House again. So the strategy is basically to pretend I don't exist, to keep me from raising any funds, to keep me from speaking in any debate, and to, just keep me out of the media. They've got friends in the media.
Are they?
And so the conspiracy includes, for example, KET.
Yeah.
The educational television,
right.
So-called. Right now they are demanding that I be excluded from the debate that's going to happen next Monday, May 13th.
Mm.
And they say that I didn't raise enough money to get into their debate. They're supposedly a public TV station. Why is money even a topic of consideration?
Right.
They're acting like Fox News. Fox, all the for-profit media corporations say we get to decide who's in our debate. With a public TV station, everybody who registered and filed should be included. And I'm just one more person. The debate the stage will not get overcrowded. It will go from 3 to 4.
Yeah, there's only 4 candidates, so they're still doing that to you. That's
it's obviously discriminatory.
Yeah. It's also similar, like you said, nationally. The Democrat Party did it to the Bernie Sanders, and they use the same argument that the Kentucky Democrat Party had said. They essentially say, well, it's their own political party, so they can, make up the rules or break the rules. They can do whatever they want without any accountability.
That's exactly what they say, and if so, it's the only organization in the country that, well, plus the Republicans,
right,
that would be allowed to violate their own bylaws. Yeah, they're saying they're incredibly arrogant. So that lawyer for DNC in 2016 said, yeah, if we wanted to, we didn't do this, of course, but if we had wanted to, we could have all got together in a back room and selected our nominee for president. That's perfectly legal. Well, that statement should cause the party to cease to exist after a while.
That's insane. That's crazy. It's why do you think they do that? Because the progressive, you're talking about the working families, the working class, so it seems like that would be the bread and butter issues for the Democrat Party, but they're going to pretend that they don't care about the issues and just act like Republicans, or what's the deal? Why are they doing that?
They do it because of donors.
Oh, okay.
Big donors are tend to be the billionaires, the multimillionaires, and they don't like the same progressive proposals that the vast majority of the American people want. So they have to stop them all.
That's a good point.
The way they do it is controlling who gets nominated.
with the lobbyists, they're beholden to these big donors. So the Edelin, I think Edelin had $2 million, and Brashear had $1.9 million. So they are getting, big time donors, and it's essentially legalized bribery, right? The way that would you be in favor of public financed elections?
Definitely. It would clean up a tremendous amount of corruption in our entire political system.
When I think
strongly in favor of that, and if it can't be done nationally, it can be done state by state.
It'd be cheaper too.
Well, cheaper in many different ways. Yeah, the total cost of putting on an election would go way down.
Right.
All of this vast flood of money is spent mostly on TV ads that run again and again and again, and people find themselves praying for election day just so that the ads will stop.
Yeah. No, that's depressing if you
sickening. Yeah,
dwell on
ridiculous. No other country that I know of spends or wastes that much money on our election.
You would have such a better conversation overall, too. I guess when I think about, what's my dream conversation, I liked how Lincoln and Douglas did it. I liked, actually, to be honest, how the Republican Party did it 4 years ago. 4 of them got together, and they went to all different places all throughout Kentucky, and they shared their views. So when I think about public finance elections, it's like, okay, you're running for office, you get the same airtime, you get the same, place at the forums, and then also with literature, you get, the same amount of space that would be on the literature, so it would be a more robust conversation, be a better conversation.
I think it's fantastic.
What would be
that should happen.
What would be
just yesterday?
Yeah.
The Louisville Courier-Journal.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing an article on the four Democrats and the 4 Republicans in the primary.
Yeah.
And they had a survey. They had questions. I also went in for an interview that was taped. And finally, they asked me, well, okay, submit a 500-word essay speaking directly to the voters. Just say whatever you'd like the voters to know about you.
Nice. Freedom.
Pardon me?
Oh, so freedom. They're going to give you complete freedom. You write what you want, they'll publish it.
That was what I thought. And so I did that. I sent it in. And the next day, I got an email saying, well, you use language against your opponents, your Democratic Party opponents, that we just can't publish that. We're going to have to change it, take out all those insults. Basically, I was calling 2 of my opponents, Andy Beshear and Adam Edelin, crooks.
Crooks?
Huh?
Just repeating what you said. Crooks!
Yeah. And the Courier-Journal didn't like that. So they say, yeah, we're going to take those words out.
Well, let's talk about it then. Would you say they're crooks, right?
I think they're crooks?
Yeah, Andy Beshear and Adam Edelin. Adam Edelin, seems to be pretty charismatic. Beshear, his father was in there for a while, so
my claim is that he and Beshear have joined this ongoing conspiracy that's been going on for the last 4 years. So part of the conspiracy is keeping me out of meetings. There's usually a meeting on the second Thursday of each month of Fayette County here in Lexington, Democratic Party. Today they canceled it for whatever reason. But when in the past, in April, when I went there, they called the police because I was trying to set foot in the building. This has been going on for 2 years.
Did you
also at the state level, the KDP in Frankfurt, they've got a headquarters building there. If I walk into the building, they call the sheriff to have me arrested for, quote, trespassing. So my question to them has been for the last 2 years, when all the other Democratic candidates can go wherever they want, but one candidate can't go into the headquarters building under fear of arrest and jail, how can you call that a fair primary?
I think
their answer is?
What?
There was this case in 1954 in Louisville, Jefferson County, that said that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party don't have to obey their own bylaws. And it also said that primaries are not elections.